Well, good evening, folks, and welcome to episode 230 of the Sticks and the Six podcast. Our third episode of the week, and I know you're getting sick of seeing my face, but we had to bring it on this Saturday night as the Leafs take on the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo, an Atlantic Division matchup. Peter, we'll get to you in just a second here, but of course we are brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network, as well as the fine folks over at DraftKings Sportsbook. An official sports betting partner of the NHL is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, the Colorado Avalanche are plus 290 to win the Cup this year. So that's a bet you can head over to DraftKings and make. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL. All rights are reserved. And Peter, I mentioned it off the top of the show here. It is an odd thing for us to be here on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Especially with a game going on. But that being said, we obviously saw a horrific event happen in the Leafs last game. Matthews going down after a brutal hit from Radko Gudas. And news broke yesterday that Auston Matthews is now out for the season with a grade 3 MCL tear, as well as a contusion. And on top of that, the news broke afterwards that Radko Gudas was only going to sit 5 games. Yeah. So let's get into the play itself. It was pretty clear cut when you look at what happened. Gudas led with the knee, and I'm going to say off the top here, because there's a lot of animosity and emotion around this right now. Mm-hmm. Radko Gudas might be an amazing guy, because I've heard it from like 7 or 8 people online that Radko Gudas is one of the greatest guys that you'll see in hockey, and I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true. I'm sure he's a great guy. The problem is he plays on the edge when it comes to the rules of hockey, and he has his entire career. He's prior to this, he's been suspended for 21 games, totaling roughly, I believe it was $775,000 of his salary, forfeited over that time as well. The fact that he led directly with his knee, and there was no change in direction, there was no effort to get out of the way. It was a tough one to watch. So with that being said, what was your first immediate instinct when you saw that take place?
Disgusting, gutless, probably one of the worst not necessarily worst injuries, but very, very serious in terms of like the impact and how, like you said, no change in direction, not even any attempt to avoid or not necessarily make contact, because you knew his intent was there. He just powered and plowed right through him. And that to me just signifies his character on the ice. He is extremely violent and very intense, but he basically showed no remorse afterwards too. Mm-hmm. And we'll probably talk about like the response in just a bit as well, because I got a hell of a lot to say about that response.
They're showing a lot more physicality tonight in Buffalo.
I will get to that momentarily, but I immediately thought, and the reaction online was absolutely, respectfully, it was like in the right. Like everyone was disgusted. Everyone was going after Gudas, and rightfully so, because that is a dirty play. And we saw what he did to Sidney Crosby in the Olympics as well. He went after him and he was very physical, but it probably was to a point where he made his hits, he should have backed off, and then he continues to sit on top of him, and it led to something else further in the damage of Crosby's injury. This one here, he showed no signs of slowing down. He just powered through Matthews knee on knee, and literally you saw his face. He did not have a care in the world, and that to me just shows you knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. And don't give me this, got to give the benefit of the doubt. I'm sick and tired of doing that with players that like have a history and everything like that. They have so many chances to get the benefit of the doubt. In this instance, Gudas should not get any of that. And like you said, he's probably the best guy, like great character off the ice, but on the ice, yeah, he does teeter that line, but there are times where he crosses that most of the time, and now everyone is sick and tired and fed up about it because in the span of a month, he took down basically the two captains of the top two teams in the world right now. That to me is just absolutely insane on how he could get away with that and how he continues to still get away with this kind of stuff too. And just overall, like there was really no need for that. And the reason why I don't want to say something that I'm going to regret, but it just seems to me that no matter where Gudas is, he is going to hurt you. Mm-hmm. And that has been the case for years and years and years. And this has been a problem too, because everyone was posting, or like some people were posting like past instances of Gudas with knee on knees or like dangerous hits and dangerous situations. This isn't a guy with that is basically Jason Spezza, where he has one knee on knee or one bad instance, and then he gets a lengthy suspension for a first time offender in the NHL. Gudas has been suspended multiple times, and you're telling me that only warranted 5 games where one of the star players in the NHL is out for the whole entire season right now because of that? You're telling me that doesn't warrant more than Jason Spezza for what he did 5-6 years ago? That to me is insane, and that it is a mark on DOPS on the NHL that they continue to allow this to happen. And I am glad that it's not just Maple Leaf fans. The whole entire NHL is up in arms about this because this is absolutely ridiculous.
So let's start with the fact that Gudas averages about 100 penalty minutes per season, right? Like, let's start with that. This guy plays on the edge, okay? Mm-hmm. He obviously wears the C in Anaheim for a reason. So, I mean, he's got to be this whole good guy thing that's coming around and people talking about how great of a guy he is off the ice. That's wonderful. I mean, that you want those guys in the room. You want those guys that are going to go out there and play hard and play physical and play on the edge. There's a line, right? Mm-hmm. And the whole idea of the DOPS is to protect the star players, protect the players on the ice.
Any player really, star power or star level really shouldn't matter.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. But like let's not be naive either. Let's be realistic for a second. The idea, like, you're gonna try and be more protective of your Crosbys, your McDavids, your McKinnons, your Matthews, your Celebrini. Like it's just a natural instinct for a league to protect their big money makers, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the guys
like protecting the quarterback in the NFL. It's like, not catering, but like, getting the calls on like LeBron James, all the star players in the NBA, basically.
Yeah, those are the guys that are putting bums in the seats. And at the end of the day, the fact that Morgan Rielly got 6 games for running his stick up Ridley Greig's shoulder.
That too. Yep.
First time offense. The fact that Jason Spezza got 6 games for a less volatile knee on knee in response to a terrible hit on Sandin.
Yeah, that game got really out of hand.
And Spezza was a first time offender who had played 20 seasons in the NHL, and you gave him 6 games.
You give him more than this?
And you've got a guy who's been suspended for 21 games over his career, has forfeited over $700,000 of salary in those respective 21 games, and you give him 5 games.
Yeah.
I don't care that Anaheim's about to make a playoff run. I don't care that he's the captain of that team. I don't care that you want hockey in California to succeed and push the envelope. I don't care about that. To me that's
not even relevant.
No, but at what point do you sit back and say, you know what? Forget all the outside noise. We need to think seriously. I was going to make
Is Anaheim really that more important than, let's say, Auston Matthews, a Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon at this point?
I was going to make a board and just sit in the back with just different pieces of the pie of how many games you could suspend somebody and just turn around and throw a dart at it.
Yeah.
Or throw it backwards, right? Just no look, throw into the...
Chuck it behind you. Yeah.
Because isn't that what George Peros is doing at the DOPS?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that what he's doing? Even here's another example. Kiefer Sherwood got smoked last night by Charlie McAvoy. Was it a high hit? Probably. Did deserve a couple minutes in the sin bin? Probably. Could you look at it as a headshot? Considering you instituted this rule in the NHL rulebook years ago to protect from headshots.
Yeah.
And you've got Kiefer Sherwood who's coming out and saying the exact same thing that we've been saying about the DOPS for years.
Yeah.
Something needs to change. George Peros has become so complacent at the DOPS that I'm not sure he knows what's going on. And I don't want to joke about head injuries and everything else like that, but my guess is that he's been hit in the head so many times that he's losing track of what his job entails, because he's not doing his job. Mm-hmm. He's not protecting players, and by taking a player out, let me tell you something. If you have a job, if you work at any day job, let's say you get a 3-day suspension and, for whatever, let's say late, and you come back and you're late again. Are we going to suspend you for 2 games or 2 days?
You get the 3-strike rule.
No, we're gonna take it to the next level. Okay, so you've done 3 days. Now you're gonna do 5. Now you're gonna, and then the last one is see you later. Right?
Yeah.
Rafi Torres is a perfect example. Got 48 games because he just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Right? So at what point do you say Radko Gudas through 881 games has not gotten it?
Yeah.
And
no, but I was just about to make the point. Sorry, that I thought you were going along the lines of if you're bad at your job kind of thing, you get the 3-strike rule. I'd probably jump the gun a little bit there.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. You increase the suspension.
You don't decrease what you're giving him. You slowly increase so that you make sure that you're starting to instill it. You're starting to change the behavior.
Yeah.
Because right now the behavior is not changing. That's part of the problem. I get it's a high intense speed driven game. Things happen. Slow it down and watch that clip. Mm-hmm. If you disagree in any way that this guy should have gotten at least 10 games, slow it down and watch the clip. He drove his knee right into the only piece of body that he could hit, which was Auston Matthews' leg.
Yeah.
He had no right
intention
to even try to hit him.
Yeah.
He was not in the position to hit him.
Mm-hmm.
And he went for it anyways, and he kneed him. And this, we're not talking about just a season-ending injury. A grade 3 MCL tear is a 3 to 4 month recovery at best.
Yeah.
And even then, when you're changing direction the way you do in the NHL, we're talking about an injury that could potentially affect the remainder of his career.
Yeah.
And I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know. I'm saying there is potential that this could affect him long term. And Radko Gudas is back in 5 games.
And guess who the Maple Leafs play in their next 5 games after tonight?
I'm going to take a book. I'm going to take a page out of Dangle's book here and agree with him. You see the title of this episode? An old-fashioned duck hunt.
Yeah.
Do you know what Dave Semenko used to do when somebody would go after Gretzky? He'd go over to that bench and he'd find their star player and he'd tell him, "You go to that guy you go with the guy on the other side here, and you let him know if he goes after Gretzky one more time, I'm tearing your fucking head off.
You're done.
I'm going to tear your fucking head off."
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Leafs need to do. The Leafs need to go after Beckett Seneke. The Leafs need to go after
Leo Carlson,
Leo Carlson,
Jackson Lacombe,
Cutter Gauthier,
Cutter
and
Gauthier.
you go right
Yeah.
at them.
Mm-hmm.
And you do exactly what Dangle said. And I don't like promoting this. I really don't. I really
You don't, but it's basically an eye for an eye right now. You take out our star player, we're going to do the exact same thing.
You go to them and you let them know, like, this is you want to instill a little bit of fear, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. So I don't know. I like let's get away from this for a second though. And what was your take on the response? Because I know that was a big thing. That was a big thing for a lot of people after that. And I will say it was the first time in my life, even with the game sevens, with the the playoff failures, all of that stuff. With all of that, this was the first time I was truly embarrassed to be a Leaf fan.
No, absolutely. I agree. I think it was, and I think it was more of a joke and embarrassment than the actual hit itself, because this has been a very problematic issue for the Maple Leafs for the last few years. And this even goes back to like two or so years ago. I linked an article where I wrote about the response after a Brad Marchand slew foot on Timothy Liljegren when Sheldon Keefe was still the head coach. And he ripped his team for the response afterwards, where basically you go after him after a dirty play and there's absolutely nothing. Fast forward to that game. You see William Nylander throw his hand up in the air, and then he says, "Oh, I didn't know what happened." Meanwhile, I call BS on Nylander right there. You fully saw what happened, and you're complaining about, well, what's going on? Usually when you throw your hand in the air, you're complaining about something. Morgan Rielly was skating, I don't know how you call it. He was just very mellow towards him, or trying to make that attempt towards him. That was absolutely the worst thing I've ever seen. That just shows no character. This team does not care about one another, and they especially did not care about their captain. They could say everything else afterwards about how they liked their response in the third period, but guess what happened in that second period? You can rest assured that Berube went in there and probably tore them a new one about the fact that your captain just went down, his knee got obliterated, and you have no ounce of response or respect or any anger as a result of that. You're telling me that if Connor McDavid, or if that happened to Connor McDavid, Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon, Macklin Celebrini, Sidney Crosby, if any of those players had that happen to them, you're telling me that there would be no response. It would not matter if it was a star player, defender, third liner. You can rest assured that someone is going in after them and they are ready to throw down, and a whole fashion line brawl is going to happen, because you do not touch our star player. You do not touch our captain. And that, to me, symbolizes this core of the team. They don't have anyone's back. When Stolarz got kneed or elbowed in the head by Sam Bennett in the playoffs, you're telling me none of them knew exactly what happened? You're telling me none of them came to his defense? Easton Cowan, even earlier in the year, I know it was not as bad or violent, but look at what the New York Islanders are doing if someone even sneezes near Matthew Schaefer. They are going in there and they are going to shove them away, saying, "Get the hell away from the kid." You're telling me you can't do the same thing for the captain right now? And the worst part is, there was more of an uproar from Nylander after, albeit a dirty cross-check from Chris Kreider up into, the shoulder, chest, face, whatever. There was more outrage from that than his knee being, or MCO being torn from Matthews. There was more of an outrage of, and I'm glad Easton Cowan went after Jackson Lacombe after a kind of high hit in kind of like a vulnerable spot where Robertson was closer to boards. But you're telling me that there's more outrage over that than the injury. And you're saying right now that it's even a very strong physical and testy affair right now against the Buffalo Sabres. They're mixing it up right now. Where the hell was this in that exact moment? I don't care the fact that you actually went out there and had a response afterwards. great. But where the hell was that anger in the moment?
Yeah, I mean,
Nowhere to be found.
I was going to say, I think at a certain point you have to look at it and say, like, they had to have been embarrassed to a certain extent with their response.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
It's one of two things. Either one, you don't give a shit about your captain,
Mm-hmm.
or two,
and if you don't do that,
you were scared. You were a little bit scared, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping it was the second one.
Yeah.
But regardless,
you hope.
Yeah. So I mean, regardless, it was not a pretty sight. There was some response afterwards. Easton Cowan, I wrote about it.
Yeah.
Easton Cowan responded to a hit on Nick Robertson, went after Jackson Lacombe. That was great to see, but at the same time, it was like,
it should have been Cowan being able to do it.
Yeah, why is your 20-year-old rookie going after the guy? Like, this should not be the case.
It's not his job.
But
it's not his job. It's basically falls on the veterans. And I get that a lot of these guys are very skilled, but who cares? Who gives a crap about that? I don't need to make it about myself, but I remember playing minor league hockey when I was like in bantam, peewee, whatever. Obviously, you're very close with all your friends on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Someone came in. There was a little bit of a scrum. Basically shoved and cross-checked our captain down. I went in there like a dirty dish rag. I grabbed the guy, face washed him to the ground, and I literally started just standing over him and basically said, you want to touch him? You got to go through me first. Dude was scared shitless, I tell you not. Yeah. That I just came in out of nowhere, and basically I got away scot-free without a penalty. So I'm kind of happy with that. But at the same time, if I'm not even an NHL player, and I see a lot of like what goes on in minor hockey too, that you touch anybody, not even just the captain, anybody, it's on. If they don't see something that they don't like, it is on. And to me right now, the Maple Leafs, they don't have anyone's back. That whole response was too little, too late. Yes, you had that third period response, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. It does not change the fact that you basically abandon your captain in that moment. And that to me is what really is disappointing with this team, but it doesn't surprise me because they've been doing this ever since this era ever started. And I'm just going to say this too. I know we're going to talk about Judd Moldaver's statement in just a bit too, but I'm glad it shouldn't fall on the player's agent. But I'm glad someone at least spoke up about it. And I'm disappointed that it didn't even... I'm going to say this. I would have expected more outrage from Craig Berube. I would have liked to see something from Brad Treliving. I don't care if the NHL is going to fine you. Take the goddamn fine. Yeah. I don't give a crap about that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, we did want to keep it short, and I don't want to go much longer here, but... Yeah. I will say this. So you mentioned Judd's. Gone are the days of Domi. Gone are the days of Tucker Corson, Gary Roberts. Gone are the days of when Wendell Clark would go after the guy who smoked Doug Gilmour when he steps over the blue line. Mm-hmm. And those are the days that the Leafs need right now. But in saying that, Judd's comments here. In light of the obvious severity of the play, I am very disappointed and shocked that the league would allow for such a ruling. A phone hearing in 5 games is just laughable and preposterous. While the hearing process is prefixed in our CBA, that there was no further discipline is a reckless and ridiculous position for player safety. In light of the obvious severity of the play, sorry, he continued there. This decision results in a further loss of confidence in the disciplinary process for all players. Players and fans deserve better. The player safety department should be suspended.
Yes. Should be expelled, really.
So, like you said, it shouldn't be up to the player's agent to come out and say something.
Although I'm glad he has his back more than the actual team.
I was going to say, that said, he just earned a lifetime membership to being Matthews' agent with that comment. And and to close it out with what he did with saying, like, the Department of Player Safety needs to be suspended. I think that was like the nail in the coffin. And this is where it needs to be re-looked at and reevaluated. And it's time for George Parros to go.
you're not just getting media members against you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this whole notion that like the media is out to get Gary Bettman and everybody else and everything like that. But now you're getting a player's agent against you. You're going to get the whole entire PA against you at some point. I mean, a lot of them are already turning on them at this point. They have no faith in the system at all. And the faith was gone ever since, and the downfall has ever happened ever since he came into the league. And I see the
blind dartboard.
Blind dartboard right there. Yeah. No, but I fully agree with that. That's just, again, it's now getting to that boiling point where, like you said, we've talked about this time and time again about a bad suspension after a bad suspension. And now I think it literally just hit the fan for the NHL and everybody right now. Not just because it's a Maple Leaf, but because this has happened time and time again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And like I said, we don't want to keep, drilling down on this at all. But the one thing to take away from this is March 30th is just around the corner.
Yeah,
we're 2 weeks out. Radko Gudas is going to be back in the lineup, and I think you and I both know that it's not going to be Radko Gudas that they go after first. So,
blood will be drawn that game.
What's that?
Blood will be drawn that
it's
game.
It's gonna get. Leafs are already out of the playoffs. It's gonna get out of control, right?
They don't care at this point. It is. I agree. It is going to get out of control. And if I were Berube, you probably don't want to go after Gudas right away.
Yeah.
But every chance, if I'm Craig Berube, I am sending Michael Pezzetta in after him.
I'm playing him 40 minutes.
Yes,
I am going 40 minutes.
I am going to tell him to knock him down, and if he tries to get back up again, you knock him down again.
That's right.
If I can guarantee you, Max Domi is going to be a loose cannon that game.
Yeah, no,
I saw him go after Beckett Seneca, and he was ready to drop with anybody that came his way, and he eventually got kicked out. Max Domi, I think, is going to really lose it in that instance. I think Pezzetta is going to be the guy to go after Gudas, but I think Domi's going to be the guy to go after the star players.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Anyways, we'll cut it there. As we mentioned, we appreciate everyone joining us for this special edition of the Sticks and the Six podcast, both on TikTok Live as well as here on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you're tuning in. I will say March 30th is going to be a crazy date to watch for.
Yep.
So make sure you tune in. With Matthews out for the remainder of the year, our donation kind of ends at that spot. It ended at $48 for the Princess Margaret Hospital for cancer research. We will round it up to 50 and even 50. So if
$1.50 per goal Matthews scored this season.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to get involved in that and double up on us or what have you, make sure you reach out and we'll put it all in as one. But anyways, that's all we got for this special edition. Peter, I appreciate you jumping on tonight, Saturday night, with us. Shout out to the wife who's taking care of the two kids upstairs, and I'll be heading up to see them shortly here. But until next time, guys, make sure you tune in to the Sticks and the Six podcast. If you're following on the TikTok Live here, make sure you hit that follow button, hammer those like buttons, as well as check us out on YouTube Live. Make sure you subscribe so that you can tune in every week with our Sticks and the Six. Episode 230, that's all we got. We're going to close it out here with a quick little rendition of Alex Hobson's 25.